Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Taking the idea of Cashless India further, MasterCard has launched its new campaign, Cash to Digital, that focuses on driving debit card usage in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Cricketer Mahendra Singh Dhoni has joined MasterCard in their ongoing efforts to build Cashless India. Storyboard's Ankita Saxena caught up with Mansi Narasimhan, VP Marketing and Communications South Asia MasterCard, to find out how relevant debit cards are at a time when digital payment wallets are ruling the payment roost. And Ankita also spoke exclusively with Chairman of McCann World Group Asia Pacific and CBFC Chief Prasoon Joshi about his association with MasterCard and how he strikes a perfect balance between advertising and being the censor board chief.
Hello Prasoon, welcome to Storyboard CNBC TV 18.
Pleasure
to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Prasoon, so MasterCard, carrying forward the idea of Cashless India, has launched a new campaign with you. So what was the brief that MasterCard came to you with, and what was the insight and the whole thought process behind this campaign?
This is an effort to familiarize people, especially the masses. We sitting in cities, we think that all the modes of payment and the way we've been progressing, unfortunately it had never reached out to people in that sense. For many people, it's still not that familiar a concept. So I think the challenge here was also to familiarize people with the concept of this payment, new concept of payment. In the earlier one, you should have seen the earlier ad which we did just before this with Irfan. There also, the idea was to take it to smaller towns and see how it's getting used, or potentially suggest how it can be used. The same intent is there in this one also, but this has specific, points to convey. Things like choti cheezon ke liye. People feel that a card is
meant for bigger
transactions, larger things, and beyond my everyday needs. So bringing it closer to people also. Things as simple as pakoda, and so we've used metaphors which are very, very everyday, and so bringing a brand like MasterCard to the common people of this country was the task.
Okay, so moving on to advertising in general, at Goa Fest this year, you said, and I quote, "Data can get me all the Urdu poetry lovers who are heartbroken in one room, पर गालिब का अंदाज़े बयां कहाँ से लाओगे? उसके लिए तो इंडस्ट्री में आना ही पड़ेगा."
Correct.
So in a day and age, where data has become pivotal to advertising, a contradictory viewpoint could be of what use is creativity if the message is not reaching the right target audience. So what do you have to say to that? Is data taking precedence over creativity?
No, I think I don't undermine the importance of data.
Okay.
I myself very hopeful about, say, something as important as AI. I think the AI is a huge leap in our human civilization, and so there's going to be a huge amount of impact because of AI, because of machine learning, because of data. But you have to understand, data is not all pervasive. What you've got to understand, so let me give you an example. You're attending a funeral, and I'm talking like as an artist right now. If you're attending a funeral, and there are funeral pyres in front of you, those flames, you can watch those flames.
Yeah.
You can feel the heat. You can smell the burn around. There's a certain tactile experience you have. You come back. So I'm a poet, I'll write a poem, or a song, or maybe an article, or maybe a story, where this entire tactile experience gets reflected. So AI has an access to what I wrote.
Okay.
Yeah? But AI does not have access to what I felt.
Okay.
So already there is a degree of separation. This degree of separation is very important. That's where creativity resides. This first-hand experience. That's why I say, अनुभूत सत्य जिसे कहते हैं, felt truth. If the felt truth, which is felt by your sensories, your being, you feel it, and that's the reason you'll find 5 different people, the same instance, the same place, being experienced by 5 different people differently, and for 5 different vantage points reflected. Now this reflection is data, but this experience is not there with data. I'm not dismissive about it. I think a certain kind of formulaic stuff can be done through AI, but in conjunction, in tandem, in sync with real human intelligence, I think it will do wonders.
But where does advertising stand today? You know, what are the challenges? You know, Sir Martin Sorrell's new business plan says that we'll completely cut out creative agencies out of the loop. So should the creative agencies be worried?
The question is, what do you call creative agencies? What is, I mean, if you call it a, you know, if you're very rigid about a definition of creative agencies, well, definitely then any kind of transformation will worry you. But if you consider the core of creative agencies is to be able to find creative solutions, I think that model, in whichever nomenclature it comes in, on whichever form and packaging it comes in, that is never going to go irrelevant. So I'm not worried about the future of creative agencies in that sense. Yes, we will see the structures changing, the models changing, and new models will emerge.
How has social media changed advertising? You know, nowadays, if a consumer doesn't approve of or doesn't like a communication, they'll just tweet about it or they just put it out on social media. So as a writer, when you sit down to write, do you take that into account?
Of course. It's a very good question. There are 2 things which are happening. One, that earlier advertising many a times created phenomena. Today advertising is riding phenomena which are created by consumers.
Very true. Yeah.
Consumers itself have found platform. You never had that platform before. And it was one-way traffic. I spoke to you. You never spoke back to me. You never told me how you like my ad. Or you never communicated between yourself.
True.
Today, I can create, I might like your idea and create further, you know, versions of your idea. Advertisers want to cast that, want to tell us that, can we create something like that, which has got currency, which is goes so viral.
Yeah.
Now see, people are creating that. It's just that we'll have to just rewire ourselves in thinking that condescension days are over. It's democratization of platform today. And everybody has a voice. So
having said that, do brands come to you and say, okay, Prasoon, we want a creative that should go viral? Like, do they say that?
They do say. Since viral is often used word because everybody desires. See, what is viral? Viral is you don't pay for it and it keeps on multiplying. Who doesn't want multiplication? Whether it's money, whether it's ideas, everybody wants. But very difficult. The X factor. That's what I'm saying. Creative cannot be undermined. That X factor, which creative people struggle to find, and they keep trying to sort of strike that chord, is easier said than done.
There's almost a paradox to what you do, you know. On one hand, you are a creative, you are a poet, you are an artist, and on the other hand, you are the censor board chief, you know, the board that's responsible for censoring creativity. So how do you strike a balance between expression and responsibility?
You've said it. You've said it. I think I always believed, I never had that contradiction. I never had that. I think responsibility is a filter. We live in a society. Especially, see, when you're going out and expecting people to pay for what you created. You can't say, I love your share of wallet, but I have no time for a share of voice.
Okay.
With the share of wallet, a share of voice comes. If I want you to listen to what I say, I also have to have patience to listen to what you have to say to me. It can't be a one-way street. Also, especially when it's a commercial venture, when I'm expecting something in return from you, I'm asking you to pay for what I've created.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to hear you. I think that's probably, that dilemma didn't exist in my head, maybe because of advertising world, where we were very clear about these things. So I think creativity and responsibility go hand in hand. Intent. I fundamentally believe that artists do not create with an intent to hurt anyone.
True.
But sometimes what happens is, your vantage point, you're so consumed by your art that you do not know maybe this can be construed or interpreted like that. That's where there is a provision of Cinematograph Act.
Okay.
It's a constitutional body. I only accepted it because I felt somebody has to do it. And we keep sitting on the fence and keep criticizing things. But when it comes to doing it, very few go forward and take the responsibility.
Thank you so much for joining us, Prasoon. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Hi, Mansi. Welcome to Storyboard.
Hi, what a pleasure to be here.
So, Mansi, tell us, what is this new MasterCard campaign of cash to digital all about?
Oh, so this is a new campaign that we are very excited to roll out because we fundamentally believe that it aligns with the government's Digital India initiative, which is to convert India to a less cash society. And we have signed on the iconic Indian cricketer Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who obviously every one of our countrymen identifies with. This is in addition to the earlier talent that we continue to have, which is Irfan Khan. And we believe through the voice of MS Dhoni and some very engaging commercials, even if I say so myself, we'll really be able to create significant consumer impact with this.
When you think about digital payments, you think about players like Paytms and Payus of the world. And you know, you would usually go to a digital payment wallet, or for that matter, you'll use cash probably for everyday small transaction. So people are not aware that, you know, you could use cards for a small payment like that. So how would you convince that consumer to start using a card now? Or how relevant is a card?
So what you say is a very relevant point, which is that people tend to use cash for small ticket purchases. And that's why one of the 6 films that we will very shortly be airing is precisely on that, how you can buy a few toffees, which is something all of us relate to, using a debit card. And to your point, yes, there is a lot of competition, but if the market is still 90% cash, it's great that so many people are talking to the consumers to educate them and so on. So we really believe there's an enormous opportunity out there. And it's through that education, using Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Pankaj Kapoor, who are the 2 actors in the films, that we will be able to educate the consumers to move to digital payments.
All right, Mansi, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard this week. You can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back same time next week. See you soon.